So good afternoon, everyone, no? Or good day. No? Since we will be having this on June 16, we are thankful once again for having to hold for the very first time an activity such as this one, face-to-face in nature. So to the union officers and board members and even our staff to join us. And this afternoon, we are so much thankful for having invited somebody that has knowledge on unionism. Maybe years of experience would really matter in ways how we deal with our union activities, the significance of the union officers, how we do things in the union. And I would like to acknowledge our fellow officers here. Now we are joined by Ma'am Nelly Ann, Ma'am Orpha Vic. So they are among our union board and active officers. They hold some responsibilities, including our union secretary, Sir Ernie Sakibal. So thank you so much for being here. Just before we will ask our guests or our invited speaker to talk to us, allow me to introduce him. So our invited guest speaker hails all the way from Silliman University. So our speaker is the external office. He is now with an associate professor of Silliman University in Dumaguete City. He's a full-time faculty member of the Silliman University Divinity School and the Department of Philosophy since 1990. Dr. Aguilan, our speaker, teaches courses in Christian ethics, Philippine church history, and philosophy of religion. He is also the coordinator of the Graduate Studies program of the Divinity School. He has a Master of Divinity from the Silliman University, a Master of Theology in Church History, and a Doctor of Theology in Social Ethics from Southeast Asia Graduate School of Theology. Dr. Aguilan was the president of the Silliman University Faculty Association. Currently, he is the external officer of the Silliman University Faculty Association, lead convener of the organization also where we recently joined, the Council of Teachers and Staff of Colleges and Universities of the Philippines, COTESCOP. He is active in both local and regional tripartite industrial council. Dr. Aguilan and his wife Evangeline have a son and a daughter. So this afternoon, let us warmly welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Victor R. Aguilan, as he speaks on the topic on the union advantage. We'll focus on the importance of unionism, labor management, relation, and the CBA negotiation. So good. Let's have a warm virtual applause to Dr. Aguilan. Sir, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. I hope I'm coming clear.
Clear, sir.
Is it okay, good. Just confirming again my audio. Okay, so the topic given to me is when Fred sent me a message and asked me to give the topic was quite challenging. And I told him it will be a 6 hours presentation if I'm going to cover all the topics. It's going to be a 6 hours presentation. And I said, then I was worried because when I saw it was a face-to-face, and second is it would be, then I got worried. Maybe I could not accommodate to the request I'm going to travel quite, no. I'm not yet ready to travel, considering the situation, our current situation. As for example, now we are hearing alert level 2 might be reimposed Manila. Okay, but let's hope and pray that everything will be okay. So the topic assigned to me, I decided why not focus to cover all the, just an introduction to all the topic that was mentioned is on the advantage of unions. Okay, why do we form unions and why members join union, and how can we encourage others to join the union? Oh, that's really the challenge. How can we encourage them so that they would join the union? So please allow me to share my screen. I'm already a host. Okay. I hope, yeah. Can you see the screen now?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, let me see. Okay, so the union advantage, joining the union. So labor union is first, you can have a workers organization and on a employee organization. And this may not need be registered, not have any legal personality, but you can only have a legal personality as a labor union if you are registered where at the Department of Labor. Membership to be a labor union requires certain you must comply with the minimum requirements of the law to be recognized as a legitimate labor union. So what's the purpose of since you are a union? So the basic assumption there is that you are registered, you have a certification, a registry of certification from the Department of Labor. And if you have that, you can now engage management through the process of what we know as collective bargaining negotiation. Okay, because there must be an employer-employee relationship that exists, which is the basis to form a labor union and the reason why you can enter into a collective bargaining agreement through a negotiation. Okay. I'm highlighting this because sometimes this becomes an issue during negotiation. We have experienced this where management even asks our legal personality. Before we started our negotiation, we were asked. They even insisted and somehow though management is not obliged, this is not part but sometimes you just have to be ready just to ensure you feel comfortable and confident you have the legal personality. So what are the advantages of joining the union? Okay, the advantages of union. As a union member, you don't have to deal with administration, meaning the director, the dean, the vice president of the union alone. Meaning, if you're a member of the union, you don't have to deal with members of the administration alone. In the solo plight, you have the support of your co-members and the union officers you elect, who are legally empowered to deal with the members of the administration. You may also feel the need for some kind of formal mechanism for dealing with day-to-day problems in the workplace before the problems become big issues, or usually because of some setbacks or experience like favoritism or arbitrariness, mga sip-sip or napag-initan, you may decide that you need a union to protect your rights. When you need more expertise, maybe you need to have some legal advice, or you want to know something about your rights, about retirement. You plan to retire early, or you want to know the exact computation of the retirement pay. 22 days ba yan? 30 days ba yan? 1 month ba yan? So these are questions that the union should be able to provide the advice. Or you have question on your compensation. Wait, bakit hindi tumataas ang sweldo ko? I'm here for almost 10 years now, but it seems okay. What about job security? What? I'm still contractual. I've been here for 3 years now. Okay. Or so there are many questions affecting the status of your work or even your working condition. And the union is there to help you as an ordinary members. Okay. So, and the officers are there to provide such assistance. Okay. So that's the advantage of joining a union. In other words, hindi ka nag-iisa. You would have always someone you can turn to when you need assistance and help. That's the advantage of joining a union. Now, the union governance. The union is participatory and democratic. Union is a member-driven organization. You elect its officers. In the General Assembly meetings, you set union policy, direction, and bargaining demands. That's the reason in our union in Silliman University, we always have a consultation mechanism, a survey, sometimes mag-survey kami, just to know what improvements do they want the union to consider for the next CBA. So, of course, sasabihin nila, we want a salary increase, but what else? Let's improve the retirement. Okay. What else we heard? Maybe we can ask some bonuses or something else, or maybe cash award, or maybe increase the discount for our children. Okay. Maybe we can give discount to those who do not have children. So these are part of the discussion, which the union officers and the panel can get the sentiment. So it would guide the panel when they prepare for their negotiation. Of course, the union cannot run without the dues. Union is actually contribution from the members. And union dues pay for the operation and expertise to advise you. But of course, since this is the money of the members, this is decided in the General Assembly in terms of budgeting. And since the officers are elected, therefore the officers are also, have the authority on how they are, how to use the fund for the good of the organization. I also have to mention here, there are some unions that not all employees are members of the union. Okay, for example, in Silliman University, not all faculty members are members of the union. So we are not a closed shop. Okay, so there are those who decide not to join the union. There are those, especially the non-regular, they are hesitant because hindi pa sila regular. They don't want to join the union. But they can join. They can join if they want. So does it mean they are not obliged to pay the union dues? No. They are also obliged to pay the union dues because they also earn benefit from what we negotiated. So non-members of the union who we represent, meaning the union represent in the negotiation, they enjoy the same benefit as the members of the union. And therefore, the non-union members are expected to contribute to the operation of the union in the form of agency fee. The same amount, equal yan. The union members pay union dues. The non-members of the union pay agency fee. That's allowed by law. Okay. So what's the important things that we have, we need to know? Even if there is no union, just for the sake of discussion, walang union sa or sa workplace, there are existing laws that protect the rights of the workers. Right to a decent pay, and that's the minimum. But many schools, numbers pay higher than the minimum wage. But there are also small schools. They follow the minimum wage. So then, right to minimum statutory benefits. These are the SS, EB, Bill Health. These are contributory and sharing. So contribution comes from the employee, and half of it comes from the management. So we call that mutual sharing in terms of the statutory monetary benefit. Okay. Now we know ang pag-ibig. Not the field health, there's an increase in the field health. So I think that's 4% increase from the 2%, but it's shared. So we are still waiting on how much ang contribution increased from the employee. Right to humane condition of work. Normal hours of work shall not exceed 8 hours a day. These 8 hours a day in the schools, okay, in an academic setting, school setting, the minimum is 6 hours of teaching per day. 6 hours yan, per day. That's the minimum. Sorry, that's the maximum, 6 hours per day. Kasi yung 2 hours per day is considered as office or consultation. Okay. Now, some schools can reduce the maximum ang contact hour. Instead of 6 hours per day, they can still reduce that. That is subject to negotiation. Meaning, you can actually change the number of hours of your work based on your collective bargaining agreement. Weekly rest period. You cannot work for 7 days. You cannot work beyond 8 hours. There should be a rest period. Okay. No mandatory overtime work. No one can be forced beyond the 40 hours, beyond the 8 hours per day. That's prohibited. Discrimination prohibited. One should not be discriminated on the basis of race, gender, sex, okay, or religion. Then this is important, non-diminution of benefits, meaning if a benefit has ripened into a company practice, that cannot be reduced. So for example, nasweldohan na kayo ng ganong kalaki, hindi yan pwedeng basta-basta na lamang i-reduce. Or meron kayong discount for your children in your schools, it cannot just be removed because it's a benefit already enjoyed. Or let's say a bonus on top of your 13th month. Let's say you have a special bonus like Founders Day bonus, or let's say you have a mid-year bonus. If it's already been given, hindi yan pwedeng just arbitrarily removed. Okay. Of course, the security of employment. You cannot just be fired or removed without just cause or authorized causes. So there must be a valid reason for terminating your employment. So and the union is there to protect, to ensure that management would not violate what the laws actually prohibit. And so it's important that it's important for the union officer to know also these rights. Okay. Now, special working condition for private school. Okay. Teachers, the working condition of teachers unique because we are not just covered by the labor code. There are other laws that can add additional. This is in the Education Act of 1982, Section 11. The Magna Carta for public school teacher can serve as a guide. Now, in the Education Act of 1982, the right to be free from compulsory assignment not related to their duties as defined in their assignment or employment contract unless compensated, therefore, conformity to existing law. So for example, if it's not part of your contract or it's not part of your working assignment, so the school cannot add an additional work if it's not part of your. So it's important that you know from the very start of your employment, ano ba ang trabaho ng teacher? What is the work of the teacher in, let's say, in CPU? For example, in Silliman, we have defined our work. That's classroom. That's one. We have, of course, research, meaning preparation. We read books. We prepare our lesson. We update our courses. Okay. Then, of course, included with that is the office hours, which means consultation with student and consultation with peers and consultation with members of the administration. So you have that, which, part of the nature of our engagement. Pero if we are asked to, to do something not part of our engagement and not even compensated, it's outside of our regular work, that is already a violation of this provision. Okay. Number 2, teachers must be given opportunity to choose alternative career lines. So, there must be an opportunity for teachers to choose. Maybe the teacher would like to proceed to a higher level of expertise. Okay. Then, number 3, prohibition against unusually heavy teaching load. Okay, that's the reason a maximum. So a maximum is 6 hours teaching per day. Huh? So if you are going to teach 8 hours per day, puro teaching classroom, when I say classroom, 8 hours, there must be some form of additional compensation. May overload pay yan for overtime pay. Okay. So this is something na is still not. This is a cause of misunderstanding because walay standard. There's no existing standard yet. If you go to the different schools, there are different, arrangement in some schools. For example, in one school, 21 hours per week ang minimum, ang kanilang requirement to 21 hours per week. So in another schools, it's 18 hours per week. In one school, I know they're even required to render 30 hours of teaching per week. So there is really no, and this although yung 30 hours per week is 6 hours times 5 is 30 hours of teaching. And that's minimum. To go beyond that, that's heavy teaching. That's already that's the maximum na. But you can still reduce that. That's the reason, for example, in UP, I think, in LaSalle, that's 12 hours classroom teaching, 12 hours. Parang it's only, 4 hours, 3 times a week. Okay, they already have so it's really interesting. You can reduce the maximum. Then another one is student enrollment per class subject to limitation. You cannot have more than in our CBA. We already set the minimum, the maximum for our class size. Okay, in other words, it's subject to collective bargaining negotiation. Okay. Now, this is important, the security of tenure. Every employer shall be assured of security of tenure, even probationary, even temporary. Meaning, if you're probationary, within 6 months, you cannot be removed within that period. If you're regular, you cannot be removed without. And so until you reach your retirement, if you have already acquired regularization. No employee can be dismissed from work except for a just or authorized cause, and only after due process. Due process is there is a hearing and investigation if there is a reason or a cause for terminating an employee. Okay. Now, how does the union safeguard your rights and security of employment? One is through collective bargaining agreement, meaning through an agreement as a result of negotiation, because you craft a contract with the terms of your employment. When can you attain regular status? In the law, you have to be teaching for 6 consecutive years. Okay? Yeah, but you can negotiate na ma-reduce yan. You can have it only by 2 years instead of 3. Okay. You have the right to demand for union representation in any investigation. That is actually in our CBA. Okay, so it's important that you you really state that in the CBA so that the union, the members can be protected by the union through a union representation. Right to due process in all matters that may result in an imposition of sanction against school personnel. Administrative due process shall in all instances be observed. Now, even if this is taken from the Manual of Regulation for Private School, even if you are not unionized, due process must be observed. Okay? Let's say walang union, walay faculty club, wala. The due process cannot be waived. Now, what is the remedy if you don't have a union? Then the only remedy is to go to the Department of Labor, and eventually, if that cannot be resolved, one will be forced to file a case against the management. So, because due process was allegedly violated. So, due process must be observed by management, and it's the right of anyone to avail of this process. It's a right. Huh? Okay, the right of labor organization. Okay, so I right of union members or ordinary workers, ordinary teachers. But the unions, as a union, merong right ang union to act as a representative of its member for the purpose of collective. So let's say, my union, Silliman University Faculty Association, we represent the rank-and-file members teaching employees of the university from early childhood up to the tertiary level. So teachers sa early childhood, teachers sa elementary, teachers sa high school, teachers sa senior high at sa college, nire-represent ng union, ng SUFA. Okay, but we also include guidance counselor. We also include librarian. So the librarians and the guidance counselor, they are non-teaching, but we consider them non-teaching academic personnel. And we represent them. Okay. Okay. So we called they are our collective bargaining unit. The rank and file academic personnel which include the teaching, the librarians, and of course the guidance counselor. They are the members of the collective bargaining units which SUFA represent. Then we are also certified, meaning we won. There was a kind of an election which the faculty and chose our union, meaning SUFA, to represent them. So we have that certification. Then it is the right of the labor organization to be furnished by the employer with its annual audited financial statement, including the balance sheet and the profit and loss statement. Okay. To own property, real or personal, for the use and benefit of the labor organization and its member. To sue and be sued in its registered name. To undertake all activities designed to benefit the organization and its member, including cooperative, housing, welfare, and other projects not contrary to law. Okay, that's the right of the labor organization. Okay, so bargaining units, which I mentioned a while ago, refers to a group of employees sharing mutual interests within a given employer unit, comprised of all or less than all of the entire body of specific employers unit or any specific occupational or geographic groupings within such employers unit. So like in our school, in our university, we represent all teaching and non-teaching. In some university, there is a separate union for college, there is a separate union for the basic education, there's a separate union for the non-teaching staff, and some unit, in-include nila ang librarian and guidance counselor do sa non-teaching. But in our case, we included the non-teaching, the librarian and the guidance counselor as members of our bargaining unit. So again, the collective bargaining agreement defined that, and it is a result of negotiation. Okay. So, what is the Collective bargaining agreement or CBA refers to the contract between a legitimate labor union and the employers concerning wages, hours of work, and all other in the bargaining unit. Okay. So that is actually in your CBA. If you have an existing CBA, check your existing CBA. Okay. So what is the collective bargaining unit? Collective bargaining. Okay. So what is a collective bargaining? Bargaining is a relationship between employers and employees are equal. Collective bargaining is a process by which the representative of the organization meet and attempt to work out a contract with the employer's representative, the union. Collective bargaining occurs when the representative of a labor union meet with management representative to determine employees' wages and benefit, to create or revise rules, to resolve dispute or violation of the labor contract. So that's really the purpose of collective bargaining negotiation, meaning meeting. Bargaining is the process of debating, discussing, and threatening in order to bring about favorable agreement of those representatives. Meaning, kung hindi tayo magkasundo, eventually, there'll be a deadlock. Then deadlock can result to mediation, asking the dole to help, or it can also lead to work stoppage, strike, because these two are allowed by law. This is recognized as a legitimate form, a part of the rights of the union, in case that there is a deadlock in the collective bargaining negotiation. But that is already when the parties cannot agree. It's a problem-solving mechanism. We find solution. We have to reach a compromise. It's like it's not just slicing the cake. Sometimes I use the analogy. A collective bargaining is like, maybe you've heard the story. Yung two brothers wanted to divide the banana, but they were worried na how to ensure that one would get a fair share of the banana. Walang lamangan ba? Walang lamangan. So nagkasundo sila with the simple rules. Okay, the elder brother would actually cut the banana. The younger brother would have the first right to choose which banana the half, the one that was actually cut by his elder brother. Siya yung pipili. So to ensure na fair ang pagpili, the one cutting it would really be meticulous in dividing the banana equally, so that when his younger brother choose, he knows that he will get a fair share. Okay, meaning the elder brother will get a fair share. So that's really what collective bargaining negotiation is all about. Bargaining, process of debating, discussing, and threatening. That's the reason the union must be ready. You cannot go to a bargaining negotiation that you don't know. It's like going to the market. When you go to the market, now you have your budget, but baka kulang yung budget ko, baka sobra or what, and then you know what to buy, and so that you can bargain with the seller. Okay, bargain, haggling. That's part of the process, but one must be prepared. One must be ready. So preparing for collective bargaining negotiation, form and train the negotiating team on its duties. You have to form your team. And there are different tasks sa members of the collective bargaining. Different tasks. You have someone who would analyze the financial statement. Someone should know something about existing laws, regulations. If there's really, okay. There must be someone who would actually really spend time listening attentively to the discussion, especially from the side, from your side. Should really pay attention to the statement of the chief negotiator coming from the administration. Of course, there should also be someone who take the minutes, or one who record, sinusulat para ma-capture ang dynamics during the negotiation. It's important that you have to form and train the negotiating team. Okay. Review experience. Maybe this is the reason why you're having this face-to-face activity. It's part of your preparation because like any team, you have to build the solidarity, the camaraderie, the friendship. You have to, the teamwork, team building, you need to have a strong team and it takes preparation. Then review experience during the life of the last CBA, meaning review your existing CBA. You have to study it. And based on your experience, what are the areas, provision that you need to improve? Or you need to clarify. Maybe there must be additional wording or statement that needs to be added para mas klaro dahil it's in the existing wordings can create confusing interpretation. Okay, review previous negotiation. Take the unit's composition into account, meaning are you representing different units? You have to consider ano yung needs, especially when you're crafting your proposal. Prepare a wage and benefit analysis, meaning when I say prepare wage and benefit analysis, use comparative analysis. Okay, contact other schools, other establishments in your area. Do some kind of baseline survey. How many schools? I think in Iloilo. Okay, maybe we can get information na, uy, magkano sweldo dyan ng inyong ganito? Magkano, ano pa mga benefits meron kayo? Uy, meron pala kayong 14-month pay, hindi lang pala 13-month pay. Uy, meron pa kayong bonus. Is it possible that we can have also that kind of benefit? So it's important that you can also compare. What about the inflation rate in Iloilo? Or what about the purchasing capacity, power in your area? These are information that can help you prepare. Then after you have done, it's important to be clear what is your objective, and of course prepare your proposal. Okay, what do you really want for your collective bargaining negotiation? Okay. So what are some of the economic issues in the CBA? Salary increase, allowances, leave, paid leave ba yan, without pay, medical hospitalization benefit, is it lump sum? Or do you like to have your HMO? Sino ang coverage? Up to what degree? Okay, coverage ng HMO. Only the employee, walay labot ang member of the family. Yeah, what about educational benefit? Should that include 100% discount, tuition, or should that include other fees? Okay. What about retirement benefits? 22 days, multipliers, or is it 1 month? Okay. Or 1.5 months? So again, that's negotiable. That benefit and other benefits. So these are part of bargaining items which you can actually introduce. Then, union recognition, okay, union security, management prerogative, okay, probationary period, that this is the union dues, check off, grievance procedure. What if there is a complaint, a misunderstanding, conflicting interpretation? There must be a mechanism how you can resolve that, and that is the grievance procedure. Then labor management relation committee, okay, because CBA. The CBA negotiation does not end when the CBA contract has been signed. Negotiation continues in a mechanism that is defined in your CBA. So, for example, if you have different committees, for example, promotion, is there a representative in the promotion committee? Is there a representative in your retirement committee? Is there a union representative? And if you have union representation in those important committees, then that is part of a continuing CBA negotiation. Okay. Then, never propose an item that is contrary. This is just an advice or below what the laws provide. Be sure na you are not going to propose anything that is below what the laws require. You can also review the company policies and see if those company policies are beneficial to you. Okay. Make the proposal as your maximum improvement. Why? The maximum that you can propose. Why? Because it's negotiation. Siyempre, when you bargain the maximum, then you can actually reduce. Because if you all start with the minimum, how can you cannot bargain to improve it. Hindi na ninyo mapalaki, mapadako. Better start from the maximum so you can reduce. Then strictly observe confidentiality and discretion during preparation. During your preparation, be sure na you maintain discretion or confidentiality, meaning inyo lang yan sa members of the team. Okay. So that it's like trade secret. You don't disclose that in a game. In a basketball game, you don't disclose publicly or openly your game plan, or else the opposing team can prepare a defense. Okay, so just observe confidentiality and discretion during preparation. Okay. Now the term of the CBA is 5 years. This is a new CBA, 5 years, or a renewal, 5 years. If it's a renegotiation of the current CBA, then that would only be for 2 years. Ang economic and non-economic can be 3 years. Then the remaining 2 years, if it's a renegotiation, can focus on the proposal. Keep it simple and current. Pay heed to necessary legalities. Meaning if you have a lawyer, you can consult your lawyer when you finish the drafting of your proposal. Observe contract language, or because it's a contract, it's better to write your proposal in simple English. I will end here. Okay, I'm going to discuss this one. Management is required to provide audited financial statement. If you are not given, then this can be considered as negotiating in bad faith and unfair labor practice. But union should make a written request for the audited financial statement. Let me see. Okay, sa tuition fee. This is the reason why it's problematic. 70% should go to payment of salaries, wages, allowances, and benefit. 20% should go to the improvement, modernization of buildings and equipment. And 10% is return of investment. Okay. Maybe I have to clear with this. Please take note, itong wages, allowances, so hindi lang yan yung sa salary. So appeal na dyan ang all other items that you negotiate. But I would like to add, ito ang formula. Increased tuition fee, that's the rate, minus previous tuition fee. Tuition fee equals the tuition fee for the current year, times the actual enrollees of the current year equals incremental proceed for the current year. Okay. For an example, assuming there are 10 students, 3 of whom are scholars. Ang tuition fee is 50,000. Then nag-increase ng 5,000. So ang computation is 55 minus equal 5,000. But since only 7 students were actually paying, so 35,000 ang tuition fee incremental proceed. Because ang 3 students are not paying. Okay. So now, question. Can management insist to limit or confine the CBA negotiation to the 70%? No. Management cannot limit the negotiation to the tuition fee incremental proceed. And there's already a court ruling. Now the law will show that it does not make 70% as the mandated ceiling. However, if the union agrees, then it becomes binding.
Naka-record pa rin.
Thank you.
Okay. So, negotiation now is how to allocate or divide the 70%. This is what management want. So if the union agree na let's discuss lang ang 70%, so what management is saying, just let's discuss how it will be allocated. But remember, there is no prohibition that the negotiation should be limited to the 70%. Why? Because the schools earn, let me see, there are other revenues. Schools have investment. They have finance income, meaning time deposit. They can pool all their collection and from the other fees. Pwede nilang i-collect yan, then they can exchange. Kikita rin sila sa exchanging foreign currency. Rental, if you have buildings, land, or asset na nire-rent nila, that's income. Income from auxiliary units like cafeteria, dormitory. These are all recorded in the audited financial statement. That's the reason why it's important that you have to study the audited financial statement. Because this is an important preparation for your collective bargaining negotiation so that you can tell administration na let us not limit the negotiation to the 70%. Okay. So just repeat, preparation stage, negotiation stage, contract administration are stages of the collective bargaining. So I end here. Thank you. Make it shorter, pero I was looking at the
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Sir Vic.
So,
thank you very much.
We will now proceed with the question and answer, Sir Vic.
Yes, okay.
So anybody would like to ask a question? A while ago, sir, we met with our VP for Finance. I think I told you that one earlier. And we were talking about this 2021-2022 tuition fee increase that we just, I think they just released it today. The explanation is that they have difficulty determining the value, so on. And I think, so since these things are already realized or they were actually collected, so they base it on actual computation, so it makes the work more final and so on, not like the previous ones that were based on projections. So how do we take that, sir? Ang tuition fee increase given towards this?
Actually, but see, that should have been released noon pa. Because they already collected it.
Right.
By law, they're already required to prepare a disbursement report. In other words, they should already made. And this is also but if they're saying they have not disbursed it, depending on the report that you receive, if they are just saying the computation lang, meaning this is what we have collected, and there is nothing, there's no report on how it was disbursed, how it was distributed, then you can presume na hindi pa yan distribute. So I cannot say anything about that, because what you said, it was already collected. What you now have is the actual amount. My next question to you is, do you have a report how it was disbursed?
I think they will still give it this week, sir.
Yeah, okay. So that's what I'm saying, because are they planning to increase the tuition this coming school year?
The incoming year, they have a system actually of lock-in fees. That's the system that they were having. So those that are first year, second year will
yes.
have a lock-in tuition payment.
Yeah,
when
until they reach
oh
the
yeah,
fourth year. Yes.
but since the third year and fourth year tuitions are a bit lower, so they have this increment, this small increment. So that's what they were computing.
Okay, it's this. I think they use that now as a standard formula in many schools, which actually added confusion in confusion yan kasi some would say na wala daw tuition fee increase, but again that's not really true because like what the one I showed you, the computation based on a Supreme Court ruling, the Supreme Court already ruled this is how you should compute the 70% incremental proceed. St. Joseph yan, it's in my presentation. You can look at the students. It's based on the tuition rate. The tuition rate, the previous tuition rate minus the the current tuition rate minus the previous tuition rate. And the result is that is the increased incremental. So like if that's 50,000 ang previous, then the increase is 55. So 5,000 ang increase. But you have to compute that in terms of the number of students who actually paid. So kasi i-deduct pa diyan yung mga hindi nagbayad. That's one. In the tertiary level, it's not warm body. Rather, it's tuition rate. So it's the number of tuition units.
Yes.
You should be the basis in determining the incremental proceed. So because you don't have the same number of students. You don't have the same number of units ang makuha. So you can have a change in the unit. So that's the reason why it's complicated. The accounting, if there is a good way of recording the collection, they can easily segregate yung tuition fee incremental at yung based on the increase in the rate and based in the increase in terms of the unit. Meaning maybe this year ang increase lang ay the total number of unit for that program is, let's say, 300 units. Then for the current year, we have more students, nag-increase ang unit ng, let's say, 400. Then the tuition fee nag-increase din. So you can actually, so that's the reason why it's now a challenge to the union to how to verify the actual computation.
That's correct, Sir Vic. Dagdag lang po diyan, Sir Vic, talaga. Sunod po sa inyo. At saka we actually have added the knowledge ngayon, no? Sa very short presentation nyo dito, especially po sa TFI and the computation. Dito po talaga ito yung Waterloo ng halos lahat ng mga unions, no? Pagdating sa CBA. Dito po talaga parang nasa limbo.
That's the reason. My position, and that's always been my position. Since negotiation is always prospective, it's part of. If you look at it in management, it's really planning. It's planning. It's company planning. It's like projecting what your increase, what is your cost in the production. These are the if you're running a company na nagma-manufacture, ito ang projection natin for the next 3 years. Ang supply natin ng leather, supply natin ng tela, supply natin tataas. So let's project how much ang budget natin diyan. How much? Okay, tataas din dahil because of inflation, tataas ang gasolina. Okay, factor in natin yan. So it's a long-term planning. Now, negotiation is part of management responsibility to include collective bargaining negotiation in their planning. Okay, but this time it's not arbitrary. It's not just management. This time they have to consider the participation of the employees. Now, if management is open in that understanding na participatory, then they can already discuss with the union na okay, we plan to increase the tuition fee in the next 2 years or 3 years. Okay, then you can discuss if they want to limit the negotiations at tuition fee, then they can already propose, okay, ito palang gusto nyo, so ito yung tuition fee. Masyadong mataas ang tuition fee if they will give in to the demands. So, that can be a legitimate concern. But then you can ask, why limit sa tuition fee? There are other revenues naman. And these are gain. These are not, these are gain. These are ganansya na, meaning ganansya na. Maybe we're not asking for the entire share. We're just trying to earn, for example, sa auxiliary unit, sa rental and other, kumita ng gano'n. Maybe we're just asking maybe 5% man lang. You can have the 95% of the ganansya. 5% lang, you can include that. But that requires really a diligent review and analysis of your financial report, which management should provide you. Now, going back to the tuition fee, you should get a breakdown, number of units per program, per year level. If you really want to know the exact amount, they have to break the figures into details. First year, agriculture. First year, arts, department, psychology, because they have different loading. Number of units, 18. Then, of course, to verify na tinuod ba yan? Tinuod ba yan?
Nangyayari po kasi, Sir Vic, nangyayari po kadalasan is we have actually parang dalawang tranches yata ang pagbabayad ng increase, no? Yung una, yun yung sasabi ni Sir First kanina na medyo natagalan. Supposedly, di pa, dapat 45 days after nung increase ng tuition, magre-release na sila ng increase na yun, ng difference, no? 1 month and a half, 45 days, no? So yun, dapat. Pero kadalasan yun yung excuse nila na medyo mahirap computein. But I think yung ginagawa na hindi naman kami privy doon is that ina-average niya lang yung units ng estudyante muna, no? ito lang po yun, isa sa Hans, no?
Yeah,
muna yon, tapos yun muna yung i-distribute. Of course, more than, well, lagpas na ng 45 days kasi may interest talaga yung pera, no? Mapapagod. Now, after that, so initially, magbibigay na ng initial na increase, no? And then later on, meron po kami na adjustment at the end of the year. Okay. So, ang problema nga doon sa dalawang yon, yung una, yung binibigay sa amin, if you have seen, well, hindi pa I think Sir Ferds shared the figures already. Pero general po yung figures na yan. Walang detalye po doon sa mga figures na yan. Yan, it's all yung pupunta, ito yung binabayad sa isang buwan, no, etc. It's general na figures. And then nakikita mo na lang doon, ito yung share ng faculty sa 76% po na increment. Ang sa amin, pumasok na ito sa CBA namin na ever since na 76% yung ibibigay instead of 70. Now, well, this is really
actually they can get from the 10%. There's no prohibition, but they should not touch the 20%. But the 20% is really for improvement of facilities.
Yes,
there's already a jurisprudence on that. So because that is for the improvement of the facilities, which the student should benefit also. But the 10% is a free item which management has a absolute control. So if the management want to share the 10%, they can. If they can share the entire 10%, why not? If it's 6%, okay, then yan. Okay. Okay, then yan. Yes.
Opo, ito nga lang po yung problema, yung pag-operationalize ng 76% na sinasabi. Kasi sabi nila, fully po yan na binibigay, no? Pag may increase, yung difference noon, 76% ng difference, pupunta sa amin. But of course, until now, medyo nahirapan rin kami to determine kung talaga nga siyang 76%. No? Because po, kung titingnan natin yung data, una yung partial na payment and then yung adjustment sa dulo. which sometimes siguro tama ang sinasabi ninyo talaga na due diligence talaga pagdating sa information. Pero it also requires din na transparent din yung university to provide us with the information.
Yes.
Yung iniisip nga namin, sir, dapat i-simulate namin yung may record din kami sana, no?
Actually, you're entitled by law sa Republic Act 6728, which it's also in my slide, but I'll be sharing the slide. You can see it also. You can have a copy of the full slide. By law, you are to have a breakdown. By law, sa 6728, ang tuition, nakasulat yan. Detailed, ha? So, which you can also request. Actually, you can state in your letter of request what are the things that you need. So management is obliged to really comply with that. And you can cite the law, 6728.
Right.
On how it should be computed and how it should be utilized. Okay. But what I'm just saying is, if you don't mention that in your letter, this is what management and what in principle in labor, if the union does not make that specific request, it can be construed na you already agreed to what management has already given to you, the document that management has already submitted to you. Kaya kung gisubmit lang sa inyo is yung yung summary report, walang detailed breakdown, and you accepted it, then that would be, as far as management is concerned, giwig na ninyo ang further inquiries. Cite the provision. It's in my slide but I have to cut my presentation. So you can look at those and we included that also in our CBA. So it took us, to tell you frankly, it took us maybe 10 years before we can teach management to be more transparent. And eventually we caught management really. We caught them. We caught them. They were really not diligent in their submission of record. We caught them, and we were kind. We were very kind naman, meaning kasi we could have filed a case sa kanila, sa individual officers of the university. Kasi and we could have deprived the university of its yung na blacklist ang university sa CHED. But we don't want that to happen in our school, because in the long run is our school. That's the reason I'm saying it's our school. We don't want to damage the very institution that provide our livelihood. But we want them to be accountable to mga officers. And eventually, we have to talk to the Board of Trustees. We have to explain to some officers na hindi pwede yung ganito na. So eventually, it took 10 years of painful learning, painful lesson to all parties, but for the management, painful. Because these were people na with credibility. These were people with certain professionalism. Just imagine, mga accountant. And to be caught, mahuli sila na, bakit ang inyong entry doble-doble? Bakit meron kayong gi-charge na wala naman? For example, i-charge nila yung tuition fee discount because there is a discount sa Silliman University for the children of the faculty. So we have to ask for the name. Sino yung mga bata niyan? We have to ask. Then how much ang kanilang nakuhang discount, and what is the incremental chargeable doon? And they have to. Then when we keep prodding them, in one incident, nag-submit sila ng CD copy of the list. When I was looking at it, we were checking the list. May na-discover kami may mga pangalan doon na tinanong namin ang aming mga, we asked our faculty members, anak ba ninyo to? Are these your children? And they answered, no, they're not. That's the reason we have a validation mechanism. And we were saying that they want, so we had to confront them. We have to say, based on our validation, we don't have our members are saying they don't know this person. How come it's in your list?
We are thinking, ito Sir Vic, i-illustrate lang namin sa inyo si Sir Bert sa kasama ko. Kasi lumalabas, of course, may warning dito na hindi pwedeng i-share ang information. I-illustrate lang ko namin sa inyo. Kunyari, ito po yung colleges na may increase yung tuition. Di ba yung mga estudyante, no? Hindi sinasabi kung ilan yung units, basta the entire college has this increment. And then pagkatapos, ito yung may cash discount. Yan, cash discount, tapos may family discount, no? At saka scholarships. So tatlo pong yan, mababawas po talaga sa net.
Yes,
Yan,
that's true. Yes.
No? Yan, tama po kayo na dapat tingnan din natin ito, no? Pero yung pinaka-importante siguro talaga yung actual units, no? Actual units ng every student for every college na may increment, no? Kasi sinasabi naman talaga dito nila. Actual tuition fee increase. Actual po talaga, no? Pero ang tanong namin minsan kasi I was just curious before kasi pinagpirma kami nito. Pinagpirma po kami. And then yung first 2 pages nitong actual report na to, bago i-distribute yung share namin. Now, yung gusto kong tingnan, yung nasa likod nito, sa ilalim nitong papel na to, kasi may actual yan, sir, na every college. Hindi po binibigay yung actual na yan. So, sabi, ito lang sa inyo, sir, ang copy. So, may we request sana.
Na actually,
yan.
What I'm saying is that you can ask.
Yes.
You can ask. You can ask for the sake of transparency and for a harmonious working relation. Okay. Second is, maybe I need to clarify, in your collective bargaining agreement, so you don't have a fixed amount for the increase.
Wala po.
I'm asking, and for example, for this school year, you're going to receive an increase of 500 pesos per month across the board.
Meron po siya. Yeah.
Okay.
Meron.
Then, okay. But then how does the 70% incremental is added to that? How?
Kunyari po yung sinegotiate namin kasi yung premise ng CBA negotiations, lahat po ng increase na sa sweldo manggagaling sa may tuition fees.
Okay, yes, okay. Yes.
Yun po yung premise ng yung parametro ng negotiation. So doon po kami naglaro talaga. Yung problema namin is the actual na increase, no?
So it's possible na but ang nire-report sa inyo is that granted na tanan.
Opo. Yung sinasabi.
Okay, granted tanan based on the CBA. But you are just concerned na maybe there are meron pang amount that can be added.
Opo.
So in other words, so for example, you have across the board of 500, let's say 500, then sinabit sa inyo ang actual computation, then you can see na, baka naman you can still add the 100 pa sa 500. It's like, have you ever experienced that in the past?
Meron ba tayo, Sir Ferds? Mukhang no? Madalas sinasabi na naubos na lahat distribute, no? Kasi pag nahingi kami ng 500,
negative.
Oo, di ba?
Negative.
Wala
negative pa rin.
Wala na tayong
nag-exceed sila daw, sir. May instance na yung binigay explanation, naka-parenthesis na yung document kasi mas higit daw yung nabigay nila.
Nabigay. Yan.
I'm going to tell you something. That is not the language of management. Because the problem is tong last jurisprudence involving the Cebu Medical School, Dele School in Cebu Medical Doc. I think it's in my slide also. Management has the full authority to utilize the incremental proceed and justify it as long as they can show it's part of the benefits given to the employee. So it's not just limited to the salary increase.
Yeah, correct.
They can charge the retirement, increase in the retirement. They can charge share of the pag-ibig, PhilHealth. So the increase in the PhilHealth, the increase ng PhilHealth this year, effective this June, is chargeable to the 70%. We are talking of the employer share. Diba, ang employer share may contribution. The employee may contribution. Yung employer share is chargeable to the 70%.
Yeah.
Yes. So, though it appears na dapat hindi na
pera mo,
because
pera mo.
Pero the law is quite clear. Ang sinasabi ng what the law mentioned is that how it should be allocated. Who allocate it? It's management. Therefore, the 70% is still under the control of management. That's the law. And that's the law. That's the reason why it has clear. The interpretation, when it was challenged by the school in Cebu, the interpretation is, how can that be? The law is, maliwanag doon na the statutory benefit should be, the share of the employer is, why should it be chargeable to the 70%? So, ruling doon is, it's a benefit. It's a benefit of the employee.
It's a benefit.
So it's legal.
Since it's a benefit an employee, therefore it's chargeable to the 70%. Though it is it's not hindi kinuha yan, hindi na yan because hindi man transfer, which the law is saying it did not transfer the ownership of that tuition fee incremental to it. It still remained owned by the school. The 70% is not transferred to the employees. Yan ang what the law is saying. So that's the reason ang amo is you just have to really it's going to be a challenge if you want to be informed, then you have to ask for the information that you like to know from administration.
Sir, if I may ask, sir, no?
Yes.
This is about retirement.
Okay, yes.
Yung retirement, sir, na 50 years old, is it by law already? And yung at least
still
let's say for example, naka 10 years ka sa university, that the thing that you will be getting granting that you will leave the university is non-taxable?
Wala pa. I think ang still
it has to be negotiated.
No, there's nothing taxable. That's you can, the non-taxable is the compulsory the optional retirement when you reach the age of 60. Sa gobyerno kasi iba. We are talking of the private sector. Malaking issue yan yung redundancy, yung termination separation before your retirement age, not retirement but rather pay, your separation pay ang gihatag, not retirement pay. That there are certain items doon na non-taxable. I think if it's actually retrenchment. Okay.
So it is something to be negotiated pala, sir, yung kung ibababa namin yung age na maka-avail siya ng kanyang na-save doon na 10 years.
So you're not talking of the retirement, you're talking of the retirement plan, your existing retirement plan.
Yeah, so it's CBA, no? Kailangan ba
yeah,
CBA?
It's CBA. For example, we have an optional retirement starting 20 years of service. Meaning if I serve the university for 20 years, I can choose to retire. But if I choose to retire, ita-tax yung retirement ko. Because I'm still employable.
Yes, yeah. That's
that's really the argument. So it's not so that's the reason people are saying na better retire if you don't want it to be taxed, retire ka na lang ng 60.
So we were able to drop down the age, sir, ng optional retirement to 55. Na-consider yun ng management. Pero kaso lang, merong iba na nag-retire na, I think during pandemic time, na na-tax pa rin yung kanilang benefit.
Yes.
Oo.
Yes, that's the reason. What you can negotiate is ask for management to pay for the tax. In other words, what I'm saying is create a formula where you impute the tax. There can be parang it's malamang prohibition yan. So ang mag-a-appear sa inyong retirement pay is a taxable figure, meaning the gross. What I'm saying is that would be subject sa inyong formula. And then you have to explain that para if you want to enjoy. So para bang gi-impute na ninyo possible tax implication if you retire below 60.
Okay, sige, sir.
You can include that in your formula. Just to ensure na wala, but you can discuss that. Kasi it will not be hindi yan the same. I don't know how what factor will they use in computing the retirement. Will it be, let's say ang inyong retirement is one month. Okay, let's say, so basic pay times 1 month times number of years of service. So how much is the tax to be collected? Okay, kung yun ang i-deduct, then you have to find ways na ito pala ang akong tax ko. If there is a formula where it will be assumed by the retirement fund, not management, by the retirement fund, since is it contributory? Do you contribute or it's
merong counterpart ang university, meron din kami, sir. So at any rate, kung mag-withdraw ka, makukuha mo yung employee share.
Yeah.
Basta at least, I think, ilan ba ngayon? 15 years?
You can explore that and see how that can be known. That we call that that's not tax evasion, that's tax avoidance. Meaning you pay, still the tax for the retirement is still paid. The government is not defrauded. The government still get the tax, but you are transferring the burden from, So what appears now is mas malaki ang gross. What appears in the record, this is the gross. There's a formula that that can be used to determine the tax implication. Parang sinabi niya, the gross retirement pay for those who opt to retire will be 1 month plus tax implication. So, the total mo, yun. So, pero kasi nga, marami diyang documentary. So, you have to ask lawyers again to help you craft the language. Kasi titingnan ng BIR, magkano ba talaga ang totoong retirement?
Oo nga. Ang problema nito kadalasan, Sir Vic, pag nag-retire ka, bago computein, sasign ka muna ng waiver. Ito may waiver.
Quit claim?
Quit claim.
Waiver?
Oo, parang
quit claim.
Yan yung
illegal.
Kaya nga. So
actually, the union should inform quit claim does not prevent an employee when there is a clear violation of the law.
This was contested ng dati naming mga union din at ilang retirees, no? Pero mukhang natalo sila sa korte. It's because I think they were not able to submit a document na technicality sila. Yun, no? Yeah. Yes. Pero ang problema kasi talaga individually, no, pag nag-retire kayo, kunyari, kailangan niyo talagang magperma doon sa mga parang procedural mga documents na 'yon bago ma-compute. Kung halimbawa, nagmamadali ka naman na makuha talaga yung retirement money mo kasi kailangan mo nga, di pipirma ka na lang talaga doon sa quit claim na 'yon para makita mo yung computation. That's the thing, di ba?
Yeah, but if the computation is legally infirm, non-binding yan, still pwede pa rin magkaso.
Yes,
what I'm saying is that you don't challenge the way you challenge the wrong computation.
Yeah.
Meaning walang problema, mo pirma ko kasi ang papipirmahan lang naman diyan is accept and true blah blah blah. Upon signature you agree to the computation blah blah blah. Yes, pirma ko diyan. But after if I show that klarong mali ang computation, I can still raise question. There's no problem yan. Marami ng jurisprudence yan. Mali ang inyong komputasyon naman. Kasi that would fall that would fall under the principle of fraud. So hindi laws, contract should not be should be based on fairness and not fraudulent. So yun, klaro yan. So you can, if you can
good faith.
Yan. Good faith. Actually, yan. Kaya sabi ko, yung waiver, kaya I thought kasi yung waiver, klarong you should not file a case. Hindi yan pwede. Yung prohibition ng I think it's really a standard. Ano yan? Standard document yan. So any ano yan that the amount you receive is true, blah 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 blah, correct? Ano? Yeah, pirma lang. Walang problema yan. Pero reviewin ninyo. Pag nabantayan niyo, ba't kulang ng 1 year yung aking computation? You can go to nag-serve na ako nag-serve ko ng 55 years. Pero ang compute lang ninyo 50 years. Kulang ako ng 5 years. You can raise that question. I mean, you can. I think you can tell your members na pag mali ang computation, they can still address it. They can still use the grievance machinery. Doon lang you can approach administration and management will correct that. Kasi they know naman na it's not good also na especially retirees. Makarma tayo niyan. Or in Cebuano, gabaan mo. I don't know in your language, Ilonggo.
Sir Vic, I think ito na kasi na-mention nyo na yung CBA provisions doon sa may regarding sa computation ng TFI, no? Baka po later on makikita kami ng copy na ng part how na paano i-operationalize.
I'll send a copy.
Medyo sensitive po yun, di ba? Opo. Yes. Yan. Thank you po. Thank you.
But what I'm saying is you can start the ball rolling by since you already received a document and another document is following. You can write a letter in a very kind letter to the administration. You would like to be informed and be provided with the following documents, and then you can mention according to Republic Act 6728 the detailed report, and you can just quote that provision. Detailed pagka-wording doon, detailed. Pag detailed, wala naman. Detailed is kulang-kulang. Hindi pwede. Okay, so I think
sige, sir.
Unless you have other pressing question now, maybe it's almost okay na.
Yeah.
Napasarap ang atong kwentuhan.
Oh, sir.
I told you, sabi ko 6 hours. Sabi ko, I remember 6 hours. But this is a labor of love. Actually, we have been invited in Cebu. San Carlos was actually a fruit of our labor. For 10 years, it was a faculty love and invited. Actually, we went to Bacolod last time. Anong school yun? We were invited with one union dyan sa Bacolod. Iloilo pa lang.
Sir, si John pa rin yung presidente nyo ngayon?
Hindi na, si bago ng presidente, si Jonathan Pena is the new president.
Okay po. Okay.
Kasi nag-eskwela si John.
Sa Lasal po.
He needs to go on with Lasal, yes. Okay, so
Sir Vic,
maybe. Yes. I hope the discussion is helpful and useful to your seminar. And when is your CBA going to start?
Actually, yung our CBA, sir, is expired. So we
you can negotiate. You can.
So, but it seems our university president is one man. He just tells us that he cannot do this and that. I don't know if it's just lack of understanding of the union and how it works, no? Because he's from the US something. But anyway, thank you so much, sir, for working with us and imparting to us a lot, no? We will be in touch, sir. So for this afternoon, to one and all, no?
Thank you.
We have a fruitful afternoon. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Yes.